Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Be It Till You See It interview recap, where my co-host in life, Brad, and I are going to dig into the cosmic convo I had with Kate Wind on our last episode. If you haven't yet listened to that interview, feel free to pause this now, go back and then listen to that one and then come back and join us. Okay, I really loved this interview. I just have to say this before we get into anything else, because I was like, I really want to have her on, but I don't want it to be like too woo and people like freak out. But like, I really felt like it made a lot of sense. If you haven't listen to it, you should listen to it, because it's a precursor. It's definitely like a pre 101, and yeah, it makes me feel like I understand a few things. I started listening to her podcast with her mom, and I feel like I actually know some of the words, and I'm still learning things. It's all very interesting. It's all very fun. So anyways, Brad just got back from Philly, and he was visiting his grandfather and family for the holidays. I don't even know the last time you got to spend Thanksgiving with them, babe, but you got to spend Thanksgiving with them. Yeah,
before we go on there, I had a comment about the conversation as well. I've never been a big fan of astronomy. Just kidding. Yeah. Astronomy is the study of the stars. Astrology has always been weird. I always thought it was like, I don't know, just kind of that thing that you read in the newspaper that tells you that the world's coming to an end every single week. And I don't know anything about Feng Shui either. And this was a really enlightening conversation for me, because I learned some of the concepts behind what astrology is, and why there are charts and all this stuff. And I thought it was interesting to hear the idea that it's like, she's got a psychology degree. Yeah. Right. It's this isn't like she just like read a couple books and became like a fairy who reads a crystal ball. Because in my head, that's what all the movies are with this kind of thing. And the conversation wasn't like that at all. It was really grounded, I thought. So I really enjoyed that.
Good. Well,
anyway, my trip back home was really good. My grandfather is getting old, and I really wanted to spend some time with him when it was possible to do that. So taking 2 weeks out of our crazy life was really important to me.
Yeah, and we don't really do a lot for Thanksgiving around here anyway, so I think it was really good that you got to spend Thanksgiving. I'm gonna be really honest, because Claire came to visit me, and that was so exciting. But nothing brought me more joy than going, I don't have to cook anything.
Except for bacon.
I didn't even do that. I ordered in. I was like, I got to be by myself and tell my family. It was glorious. I love it. I am also on my way to Dallas for, it's becoming an annual event.
Yeah.
Erica Quest and I are doing a well weekend. Well, it's our second well weekend, but it's definitely
you've been down there 3 times, but this is the second.
Yeah. This is
December
with Erica Quest.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I really enjoy working with her and getting to do things like that. If you don't know who Erica Quest is, you can listen to her episode. It's probably in the teens. And when we come back, we quickly get ourselves situated, close the house up for the winter, and hit the road. Yeah. With our first stop being in Dallas. Well, one of the first class we're going to do. So I'll be back in Dallas teaching some workouts, and then Houston, and then we're going to spend the night in Memphis, and then a day in Nashville, sometime in Atlanta with our friend Joel. We'll actually be in Nashville with our friend Lauren Zoller. You've heard her episode.
Yes. It's going to be a great time.
It's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be an incredible tour.
Yeah, and then Greensboro.
We're going to be doing multiple classes in a few cities. But I think we have Dallas, Houston, Nashville, just outside of Atlanta, Greensboro, North Carolina,
Cleveland,
Ohio, and then St. Louis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fun.
So 7 stops.
7 stops.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so anyways, if you are wanting to join, if any of those cities sound like something fun and you want to work out with me, onlinepilatesclasses.com/tour is our 3rd official tour.
Yeah. And if you're in the Philly area and you want to hang, we're going to like get together for coffee, in the Philadelphia, just north of Philadelphia. So.
Yeah. And that if it's at nighttime, that coffee might be a drink. And,
it might be a hot toddy.
And then Denver, yes, loves, of course, we're going to hang out and have lunch.
Yeah, Denver, we're going to have lunch on our drive-through.
Mm-hmm. We have a wedding to be at on December 31st. So this tour is hot. Like hit it hard before the holiday, couple days with family, get our butts back home. Yeah. So I'm just so excited that people love this tour so much that we keep doing it because it really is fun. And I just saw the art for the tour and I can't wait to see what the merch is because we all need a tour shirt.
Yeah, you do.
We all do.
Yeah, you do.
Now,
anyway, onlinepilatesclasses.com/tour.
Yes. Okay. So, instead of a question this week, we have a bold moment, right, Brad?
Yeah, we totally do. It's exciting. We love hearing from y'all. Mm-hmm. So if you ever have any bold moments, we are very excited to share with your permission, of course. So I
got permission from Allison. She's an agency member of ours, and she wrote lots of stuff on my mind this week. That's a channel. We have an agency, by the way. It's called On My Mind. First, LL's podcast episode on fall routines and mindset helped me realize that for as long as I can remember, I have not wanted to do anything from roughly October to December. And yet also for pretty much my whole life, I have resisted that because I believed I should push on no matter what. And this October has been no exception. So as I look ahead to November and my business goals, I'm considering what kind of actions will cultivate a sense of nurturing rather than effort. Also, I started reading the source recommended in that podcast episode. And the first journal exercise helped me realize how disconnected I feel from pretty much everybody since moving. Even though I am still in touch with wonderful people from Austin and I love my partner's family, I still feel alone. This is definitely something to journal more about. So I loved this moment because it's all inspired from the pod.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of this whole podcast is to help you listening understand yourself more and figure out how you can be it till you see it. And like, you cannot be it till you see it if you're pushing through when your body is saying, slow the fuck down. And I have been watching what Allison's been doing, and all of her goals have been things to help set her up for a Q1 where she can go off and hit the ground running. So she's not doing nothing, but she's not pushing. She's actually like, it feels a little bit more like pulling, like what do I need to do over here? So thank you, Allison, for letting us share this and also for sharing it with us because podcast is just so much fun. I love doing it. I love the interviews I get to do. It's like a really fun thing, but hearing how it affects you makes it like, it's like the why behind doing it. Like it's the fuel for it all. So thank you for sharing this. And if you want to share yours, you can DM us at the Be a Pod on Instagram. You can send it into the team, any place that you want to do that, and will help us share it with other people.
Yeah, we want to celebrate your bold moment.
Yes.
Okay, now let's talk about Kate Wind. As a second-generation astrologer, tarot reader, and feng shui consultant, Kate has been raised around the language of the stars, but it wasn't until after she pursued her degree in psychology that she got fed up with the corporate life and doing a decade in the corporate life that she started to recognize the cycles of astrology in her own life and circled back around starting her own business. So she got out of the corporate world and started her own astrology business. She now works to bring these tools to people in a digestible manner. Kate works with one-on-one clients with both astrology and feng shui and reads tarots for events and is a co-host of the podcast called Mom and Me Astrology.
Yeah, it's a fun podcast. Can you just say how you read reader before? Can you just say that again? I just want to hear how you said it.
I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
At the top, you said tarot reader, and I just thought that was really special. It's like target. It's just tarot.
Oh. Did I?
Yeah, you said tarot, and I was like, that is such a beautiful way of saying it, and also a big light. Brad does not do. I don't think he's ever had a tarot reading before.
I've definitely not had a tarot reading. No.
I would have stopped you if you said tarot. Okay, so this is just a really fun conversation. This is really, I really wanted to have her on talking about this because I find what she does really interesting. I also, it's not like I know other astrologers and I haven't brought them on. I specifically brought her on because I love the way that she and her mom look and use astrology. As she mentioned, it's like can be like a therapy thing. And so I just find that to be really cool. Like, back during the U.S. election, they had a whole episode on astrology and the election. And so they use it in an applicable sense as opposed to like a psychic sense. And I think that that's really unique. So one of the things that I loved, and this is like super key, is like your signs don't define your behaviors. So I say this, I'll just keep going with like one of the other things she talked about was like talking about how you shouldn't use your sun sign as an excuse for behaviors. Have you ever had those people like, oh, I'm a Virgo, so that's just who I am. Like anytime you say it, that's just how I am. And then you refer it to your sign. That's not how astrology was supposed to be used or is actually used. It just as much as like one of my strengths is woo. And I stayed in a relationship too long because I was trying to win this person over. It doesn't mean like I constantly put myself as a doormat because I'm trying to win others over. That would be like, I have choice there. I know I know this about myself and I know that I can do that. So I have to put boundaries in place. And so,
it's the same, like we talk about strengths all the time, especially strengths finders. You've heard us talk about that a lot. Every strength has a flip side. Mm-hmm. You can be empathetic and it can be a benefit to you. That same empathy can be an anchor for you, you know, on you. And so I think that in the same way, how astrology can define a possible character trait of yours, that character trait doesn't have to be a negative.
Right. Well, and also it doesn't, just going back to, it's not an excuse for poor behavior. Right. Period. Yeah. In a story, you don't get to be like a dick about something and go, it's just my like sun sign. Like it's because I'm a Taurus, I blow up at people. No, you have fire in you, but that doesn't excuse you for like blowing up on people just because you're upset.
Or you were talking about being a doormat, you know, you don't necessarily, like you could be prescribing yourself a negative situation thinking that this is just the way it is because I'm a XYZ, you know, because I'm a Cancer.
Well, I mean, I lose things all the time. And yes, I am an Aquarius and I put things in different places. That being said, I don't get to every time I lose something of ours go, well, it's because I'm an Aquarius, deal with it. Like, no.
Right.
Some people, like I put things away on purpose so that are yours anyways. You know, so anyways, just to like sum that up, I really love that she brought this up because I really do think a lot of times we can use some qualities about ourselves, our characteristics about ourselves that are unbecoming and go, well, that's just who I am based on this sign.
And write it off and then expect everyone to just be like, okay with it.
And guess what? Right. You still are responsible for the actions that you take.
Yeah, totally. One thing, actually, I have a couple things, like she said, you asked her, how do people perceive you when you explain to them what you do? Mm-hmm. And she said, people either have two reactions. They are really excited about it or they avoid it because they don't really understand it and they don't know what to do. And we went out to dinner with her and her partner and Mike, and I think I avoided it. You know, I wasn't like...
Oh, you did. I was like, wait, tell me more.
Yeah, because it just kind of made me glassy-eyed where I was like, I don't know what that means. Okay, moving right along, right? And it was that said, with that in mind, it was an awesome dinner. We had an amazing time, and the conversation was fantastic. But what I didn't understand at the time until the interview that you just had was that there is a difference while they go hand in hand. There's a difference between astrology and Feng Shui.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't know that. I mean, I just heard of feng shui too, but like, I don't actually know anything about feng shui. I just knew that like, it's a thing and people like,
My
change
mom
where their
is
house
going
is
to
arranged.
call you up because my mom was so big on feng shui. She watches us on YouTube. Shout out to mom. And she is going to teach you all the things, and you're going to end up with a crystal somewhere.
I mean, I'm not opposed to that, but my point is I didn't know that there was a difference. I just kind of lumped it all into whatever. And I thought, this conversation was still a merge of the two, and I was trying to understand like what's what and what's the other. But I was definitely drawn to the actionable steps that are possible with feng shui. I still don't really understand all the things with astrology, but I thought with the idea of like there's a clear time stamp in space and time when you were born. Mm-hmm. Okay, no problem. And when you were born, planets and things were in a specific space, and like they were where they were when you were born. Okay, totally get that. So I thought that was interesting. But then from there wasn't too much like. I didn't really understand action steps that could be taken from that. And then the conversation shifted over to feng shui, where there was a lot of actionable steps. And I thought, okay, cool. So I was kind of learning about the practicality of feng shui and how you can be setting yourself up for failure without even realizing it, simply based on your environment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I think that...
Or you can be setting yourself up for success in that same environment.
Yeah, I think like that's there's... And some people might even be doing some feng shui things without even knowing about it, because it doesn't, when you actually look at it, it kind of is, some of it is a little more common sense. Like I wouldn't have known that the money, like that the girl's picture was in the wrong corner, but the girl's has our picture that she talked about, the back is turned towards her, and like your clients are women and they're not buying from you. Like put that picture away, right? Like
and I think that the most practical application of feng shui from my experience growing up is you laugh about it, but the lipstick on the mirror in the bathroom in the morning of like, you got this, right? The positive messaging of like, you're a good person, and like the concept of a mantra. You wake up and you have this thing that you repeat to yourself and you start the day and the day is amazing. And, and I never really thought that there was anything weird about any of that, because I understand the story we tell ourselves is how we're going to experience the day, right? So if I'm willing to embrace that idea, why would I not be willing to embrace these ideas of like the way you've positioned the room can actually have an effect on your mindset?
Well, and so I love that you brought that up, because as you were talking earlier and you're like, I didn't know about this. I didn't put it together with the stars. Y'all, many people who might be like a little bit like, I don't know about astrology, I don't know about this feng shui stuff, I don't know about this. But then you go to Machu Picchu, or you go to the pyramids, or you go to the temples of Cambodia.
Temples of Angkor with us, yeah.
How do you think these things got created and exactly where they are? Okay, I think we talked about this when we were in Cambodia. Some of these temples were built at the exact same time as other things halfway across the world were being, and like the only thing you can think is like, well, what was going on at that time? Because there wasn't cell phones, there wasn't email, there wasn't someone chartering a boat and like telling people this is what we're building. It had to have been what was going on in the stars, because they could, you know what I mean? Like there's just these energies things. So I know it can sound like triple woo when you talk about energies and stars and all, and the feng shui, but some of it just makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And I thought that there was, what also I thought was really interesting was she grew up in this environment. Mm-hmm. Her, parents are both astrologers, and she was fielding phone calls of like, my triple moon is jumping backflips over the rainbows of Mars. Like as a 10-year-old, and I don't speak that language, so I don't really understand. And I was kind of making fun of it right there. And I hope she doesn't give me too much shit for that. But, that's kind of what it sounds like to me. And I'm like, I don't really get it. But I also don't like when she started to get nerdy about it, she was like, here's the relationship of the planets and the stars and the things and how they affect each other. And then when as the earth rotates and we move around the sun and all this stuff and the position that we are in that, it affects things. And I was like, oh, get it. Got that. That's kind of cool. And her psychology degree, when she was looking like at her own life, experiencing her corporate life that she was living, speaking the language that she grew up with, and then applying her knowledge from going to school, allows her a really interesting bridge. Mm-hmm. Like she speaks a language that I could connect with because, I can relate more to psychology than I can to astrology. And she is connecting the dots there. And I thought that was really helpful for me, really revealing.
Yeah. Well, basically, Kate, we love you and the way that you look at these things because it's approachable and easily to understand. And that's why I had to have her on. Okay.
All right, so finally, let's talk about those beit action items. What bold, executable, intrinsic, or targeted items can we take away from your conversation with Kate Wind?
Yeah, so she had one beit action item, and I really love this because you should be doing this annually, if not more often. But she says, take a look at your home. What is your home saying? And if your home is an apartment or...
This is a little more on the feng shui side than the astrology side.
Yeah. So look at the artwork, look at the pictures. Are they current? Any dead trees or plants, anything broken, remove the dead energy.
Clutter. I mean, I'm such a culprit of this where like things just build up on my desk behind, my Zoom camera. And then all of a sudden I turn around and it's been like a month since I've moved things around on my desk and it's just a pile of stuff,
Yeah, and then and this is like also, I thought this was a really actionable thing. She says, take note of where you walk around and curse. Where are you spilling like 4-letter words? Because I think sometimes people go, oh, it's fine. No, my plants are fine. Or actually don't have a lot of things. I'm a very clean, like I have like a clean look or whatever you call that minimalist look. And it's like, okay, but then are you constantly like tripping on a table? Or are you avoiding, like, do you even sit in your living room? Like, go and do an inventory around how you use your house and if it is actually bringing you any joy or like what the energy is. Because, we do move things around a lot because that's how we are. And that's kind of how but it's really easy. Like I'm looking over at this like shelving over here and I don't even know why those things are on there. And if we chose for them to be on there, and maybe we should move those things around because maybe they belong
Those are my
somewhere
decorating
else.
skills, babe.
Yeah. I clearly need to take over on that. But anyways, I thought this was really cool. And I'm wondering, Brad, if there's anything in your spaces that you're wanting to like take a look at.
So, I'm not going to answer that question. No, just kidding. Well, I really connected to the idea of dead trees and plants. Mm-hmm. Because as you all know, I've been really excited about cactuses and I never gave a shit about that before. For the first time in my life, like I actually walk around and water them and check on them and make sure that they're, doing well and like talk to them, which is weird, but I do. So I certainly wouldn't want if something has died, you don't leave it there. Seems pretty straightforward to me. But maybe you do because it's not important to you. But what I think the idea is, whether you think it's important to you or not, it is affecting you, right? Whether you realize it or not, it is affecting you, right? And you almost become desensitized to it. Until there's a boiling point. I was thinking about this when I was listening to the interview. I remember at my old job, I had a desk, and the desk was in a room with other people. And, unsurprisingly, my desk started to get clutter, right? And I didn't realize it, but, and then over a period of time, it was clutter and clutter, clutter. And then I had like an epically bad day. Like so bad that I wanted to throw my laptop, break things, scream, yell, and all this stuff. And I couldn't do any of that. But I just took my arms and I just went, boom, and I swished everything off my desk onto the floor. And everyone in the office was like, what just happened? Right? And because I just needed space. I needed, all of it was there. And I just scoom. And I just remember basically throwing the stuff against the wall. Right. And I don't know why, but it was very relieving for me. It was really weird for everyone else in the room. I created a lot of tension in that public outburst that I didn't scream and yell, but suddenly my desk was clean and it allowed me to go like, right. Yeah. So I didn't even realize all of that clutter was affecting me, but it was.
It's like having the tabs open on your computer.
Same thing.
It's the same thing. It's got things running in the background. And so I like that. I'm actually super excited because we're going to be back in time for our New Year's Day anniversary, like our thing that we try to do every year at New Year's. And what I'm hoping happens is we redo the closets. Yeah. It's a little hard to do every single room in the house in one day, but I believe in us. And the closets and the kitchen drawers, I think. So follow up with us, y'all, on January 2nd and ask us how we did on removing some energies, and also where all, because I definitely curse in the closet because I can't find things and they're missing. Sure. And then I buy them again because I forgot that I already own them or something similar. I'm like, why do I have 4 hot pink pairs of pants? Oh, because I couldn't find the other 3. And I was like, oh, look at these. I don't have that. So anyways, I thought this was really special. Let us know how this conversation worked for you, what parts of it were intriguing, which parts were like, oh, that makes me understand, which parts are like, I'm not into that. I'm happy to hear. And also what you're going to remove or move around in your place. Like, how are you going to do this? Like, take a picture or share. You want to create a reel of you like changing energy in your house. Yeah, that's a great idea. Tag the Beit Pod. Kate. Tag Kate. She'll love it. Yeah. And also take a listen. If this was really interesting to you, because I would love to have her back, but you don't have to wait for that. You can actually go to Mom and Me Astrology and listen to their podcast. They have an episode every week, and I find them all very fascinating. So anyways, I'm Lesley Logan.
And I'm Brad Crowell.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We are so, so grateful to have you here. And so until next time, be it till you see it.
Bye for now.
That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Beit Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day. Be It Till You See It is a production of As the Crows Fly Media.
It's written, produced, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell. Our associate producer is Amanda Fraterelli.
Kevin Perez at Desenio handles all of our audio editing.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Cioffi.
Special thanks to our designer Jairo Mandal for creating all of our visuals, which you can't see because this is a podcast, and our digital producer Jay Perdoso for editing all the video each week so you can.
And to Angelina Herrico for transcribing each of our episodes so you can find them on our website. And finally, to Meredith Crowell for keeping us all on point and on time.